This ain't your ordinary football show. It's the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder. Brought to you by Priority Automotive.
Last week we talked about Old Dominion's perfect 5-0 record, and I promised you the Monarchs would not lose last weekend, and they didn't. It was their bye week, but it's back to business tomorrow when a very good Villanova team comes to SB Ballard Stadium looking to hand Old Dominion its first loss. So, with the second half of the season still to come, where are we now? Let's find out. It's time for the Old Dominion Football Show. I'm Bruce Rader along with Coach Bobby Wilder, and Coach, your student athletes had a chance to study, your assistants had a chance to recruit, and you had a week to reflect. 6 weeks now into the season. Your team is 5-0. You're ranked third in the nation, and we begin with that question. Where are we now?
Oh, I feel really good, Bruce, about where we are. When you talk about being 5-0, being undefeated, being ranked number 3 in the nation, which is someplace we've never been. I mean, that's the highest we've ever been ranked in the brief history of our program. And also, Bruce, we've played 40 games now as a program. We're 32-8, winning 80% of our games. We played 10 games in the CAA. We're 8-2, winning 80% of our games. So I feel really good about that. The areas we have got to improve on, we've got to get better blocking on offense, we've got to get better tackling on defense, and then special teams, a couple areas we've got to clean up. But I feel very good about our program and where we are right now.
All right, before we get to tomorrow's homecoming game against Villanova, let's talk about last week for a moment. You sent your assistant coaches across the country recruiting. What specifically are you looking for to prepare yourself for next year and then Conference USA?
Yeah, great question, Bruce. This is different now in terms of the recruiting part of it. We started right here in Hampton Roads. We had coaches all over Hampton Roads, Virginia, but we also went to the junior colleges. We went to California, to Kansas, to Texas, to Iowa, places where we had built solid relationships previously. As our fans remember, players like Thomas DeMarco were junior college players and very good student athletes for us. But now, Bruce, what's got to happen is we move from the CAA to Conference USA is we've got to get bigger, faster, and stronger. It's a priority now to recruit student athletes, some junior college players that are older, more experienced, but also the high school players. They've got to be bigger, faster, and stronger. I like our formula, our aim high philosophy of good people, good students, good athletes. Just got to get a little bigger and a little faster.
Obviously, a big reason for this team's success this year has been the play of Taylor Heineke.
Right.
Is he the best quarterback in the nation right now?
Of course, I'm biased, but when I look at the statistics, which is all you can measure quarterbacks by at this point, I think he is, Bruce. I think he's the leading candidate for the Walter Payton Award, which is the Heisman Trophy of 1AA football or FCS football. Statistically, when you look, Bruce, he's averaging 503 yards of total offense per game. He's throwing for 465 yards a game. Nobody else is even close to those numbers. And more importantly, like we talked about after the New Hampshire game, those are important throws he's been making. It's not as if he's been piling up stats. So at this point, in my biased opinion, I think he is the best player in the country.
All right, so now as you prepare for the toughest part of your schedule with the goal of making the NCAA playoffs again, what type of challenges did you give your players and your coaches this week?
Well, the number one thing, Bruce, I talked to him about was the toolbox. You know, we've got to take our toolbox out to practice every day, and each player has to be committed to the areas they need to improve. And we start with Taylor Heineke. You know, he brought it up in the team meeting on Sunday when I talked about this, and I said, Taylor, what areas can you improve in? You know, here's arguably the best player in the country, and he said, well, you know, I've got to stop throwing the interceptions. They're leading to points from the other team, and I've got to get my feet a little bit better in the pocket. So here's arguably the best player in the country saying what I need to improve on, and all the players felt that in the room, and I felt like this week in practice, everybody was trying to get better, Bruce, at those areas they need to improve on.
All right, so we begin with Villanova tomorrow. The Wildcats' 4-game winning streak was ended last week by Richmond, but Villanova's got a very, very good young quarterback and probably the best defensive line that you guys have faced all year.
Yeah, you're right, Bruce. You bring up two really good areas for them. Andrew Robertson, their quarterback, has been outstanding. He's a redshirt freshman, and I think he's a runaway right now for the Rookie of the Year in our league on offense. He's averaging over 250 yards a game, and what makes him so dangerous, Bruce, is the fact that he throws the ball well, but he's also one of their top rushers. He's averaging 75 yards a game running the football. And then you mentioned the defensive line. They're rolling in 6, 7, 8 players. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. So the battle is really going to be in this game, Bruce, our offensive line versus their defensive line. Can we protect Taylor? And then also, can we contain the quarterback?
Well, Coach, you know, it's safe to say that the ODU offense has been hitting all the high notes this season. But one player in particular has full range when it comes to making music. Chris Reckling has more on Old Dominion lineman David Bourne.
Another score for the Monarchs. The crowd cheers. It's music to the ears for the Monarch faithful. But for one Monarch player, music has a different meaning. When not looking for a pancake block, offensive guard David Bourne can be found tickling the strings of his guitar.
My parents got me a guitar for Christmas when I think I was in the 4th grade, and I hated it because I wanted to play drums. But you know, I was like, oh, you know, this is really nice, but I really just put it in my closet. And then when I got into the 6th grade, I was watching my dad play. You know, I watched him play growing up my whole life, and I saw him playing, and I was like, man, you know, you got to teach me.
It's hard to miss David Bourne. He stands 6'8" and weighs 320 pounds. While the guitar can look small in his hands, he says he has equal affection for both music and the game of football.
Football is just, you know, it's my passion, and I love it. I love playing it every day, and you know, I don't know where I'd be without football in my life.
Bourne is a Bakersfield, California native. He says he never really left the Golden State until ODU came calling. You
know, it was a bit of a shock, but, you know, Coach Wilder and Coach Scott came to my house, and I believe in the program, and I'm glad it's the best decision I could have ever made.
Bourne describes himself as a well-rounded, funny guy with football and music providing an uncertain path, but a path leading to an exciting and adventurous future.
You know, I don't really know what I'm going to get out of it, just as long as I keep doing it with passion. My name is David Bourne, and that's what I call the Monarch Blues.
The biggest guitar player I've ever seen.
He is 6'7", 325 pounds. What a great family, Bruce. Mom, Dad, and David. He's a Dean's List student. He's going to be a great success.
All right, no more easy games on the schedule. So what will the Monarchs have to do to beat Villanova tomorrow? Still to come. Coach Wilder will have his priorities of the game. Don't go away. Welcome back. Cornerback T.J. Coward has been one of your brightest spots on defense this year, and he's going to need all of his coverage skills this week as he dares to take on Ali Lucia on the 1-minute drill.
What is something the Monarch fans don't know about you?
I don't like insects. I just hate them, like, it's nasty. I hate them.
If you could play any sport other than football, which one?
I'll probably play baseball. I love baseball. Probably play center field. Favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr.
If you could be any role in any movie, which one?
Any role? I think I'll play Denzel Washington in Training Day.
If you could date any celebrity, who would you date?
Probably had to date Beyonce.
Good choice.
Sorry, babe.
When it comes to life after football, what do you see yourself doing?
Probably coaching. I can see myself coaching, helping other people out, play football. Probably coaching, yeah.
Can you say goodbye to the Monarch fans?
Bye, Monarch fans.
Still to come, a final look ahead to tomorrow's homecoming contest against Villanova. You're watching the Old Dominion Football Show, brought to you by the Priority Auto Group. Well, it's homecoming week at Old Dominion, and the action has been going on for days with the Powder Puff Tournament, comedy shows, step shows, Monarch Day yesterday, the parade in the morning. Do the players get into the, say, homecoming deal, or is this just another week?
No, they're really excited about it, Bruce. They think it's great. They know what's going on. They know that there's even a Ferris wheel that's going to be on Kaufman Mall before the game, and fireworks after the game. And you can tell, Bruce, how much President Broderick and our leadership at Old Dominion University has put into homecoming and how many people are coming back. I think it's a great day, and I think it's a great thing for Old Dominion University.
All right, let's take a look at tomorrow's activities. The parade begins tomorrow morning at 11. Tailgating in the Cornhole Tournament starts at noon. Kickoff against Villanova 3:30. Fireworks after the game probably around 7, and then the homecoming ball tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Okay, it's time to turn it over to the fans. It's time for the Coach's Corner, and the first question is from Victor in Newport News. Norfolk State had a touchdown taken away last week because the player high-stepped before crossing the goal line. What's your stance on this rule? It seemed kind of harsh.
It was. That was kind of harsh, Bruce, that happens, but we all know that it's there. We know the rules in place, and we've had to explain that to our players. The number one piece of advice I always give to our players is act like you've been there before, hand the ball to the official, and go celebrate with your teammates, and you can't have a penalty called on you.
Your offense has been there a lot. Next question, Phil from Norfolk asks, with 2 teams in the top 5, is this the best CAA season that you've ever seen?
That's a really good question, Bruce. Last year at this time, there were 9 teams ranked in the top 25. We didn't have 2 in the top 5, but there were 9 ranked in the top 25. Now it's Old Dominion, James Madison in the top 5. If it's not the best, Bruce, it's pretty close.
All right, keep those questions coming in.
Very
Just
good questions.
email them to sports@wavy.com. All right, Coach, time for your priorities of the game for tomorrow's contest against Villanova.
Yeah, Bruce, the number one thing we've got to do tomorrow is just make sure that we're aggressive. We got to come out and be aggressive. We've had a 2-week layoff, so it's going to be important we're aggressive right from the start. The second thing we've got to understand is that this is a Villanova team coming in here that's made a statement. This is a critical game for them in their season. They're 4-2 overall, 2-1 in the league. They're treating it as a must-win. And the third thing we've got to do tomorrow is protect the football. We cannot turn the ball over. We can't have interceptions for touchdowns, turnovers on special teams, because Villanova takes advantage of special teams. Those are the priorities for the game tomorrow.
And the priority for the fans, they get to see 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Absolutely. You got to be excited if you're a fan, and Bruce Rader will be there on the Ferris wheel.
I'll be on there on the Ferris wheel at Kaufman.
The Kaufman Mall.
At
That's
the
right.
Kaufman Mall. Okay, don't forget, it's homecoming tomorrow. Get there early. Good place to watch the parade would be 49th and Hampton Boulevard. It starts at 11. Football tailgate at noon. Kickoff against Villanova at 3:30. I guess you don't have to worry about getting the 12th Monarch up for tomorrow's game.
Oh, they're going to be excited. I can already tell.
Hey, I'm excited. That's it for us tonight. Join us every Friday at 10:45 for the Old Dominion Football Show. We'll see you tomorrow. It's homecoming. Good night, everybody.